Let's get into it. Look, moving different, you know I'm already custom made. Said you wanna play with me, there's just a different game. Trying to make it to the end, it's just a crazy maze. Here for the long, you know I'm about to make a play. I'm coming stronger, getting bigger, just a different day. 2020, tunnel vision, know I'm here to stay. Told my mama I had to leave, she prayed for better days. When I came back home, was loving all the praise. Keep the real ones around, not only fuck with apes. Now we banging on the chest just like a bathing ape. Now we getting all this money, never go astray. Just know I'm grinding to the top until I get the fame. It's more than the fame, I want the respect. I wanna show the world I can give it my best. Okay, post-traumatic stress just be keeping me pressed. Almost all my brothers died, now I'm paying the debt. It's like that. Welcome back, everybody, to season 3 of Brothers in the Deep End. We're here today. We have a boy with us, one brother in the deep end named Carmine, and he's here today to join our conversation. I want to give a special thank you to all our guests, all our supporters for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing all of our videos. We can't thank you guys enough because without you guys, we won't be here right now.
Word up.
So for today's episode, it's a little different. We're going to get into a little touchy conversation. It's going to be a little touchy for a lot of us because I think a lot of us could relate to this. And I'm actually going to start off with a story really quick. So recently, me and my boy Ethan, we took a little trippies to freaking Atlantic City, and great time, amazing time, right? But there's always things in the back of our mind that always tend to not haunt us, but they're always there, and they keep us reminders of who we were in the past and things that have happened in the past. So it's a little story, right? We're all having fun. We're having this good time. I'm just gonna do a little long story short. We're out this bar. We're all chilling, having a good time. This isn't that. Music's bumping, and then out of nowhere, a fucking firework goes off and fucking blows up like crazy loud. And for some of you who've been watching and some of you who know me, I did a combat tour in Afghanistan. So for me, like that big boom, it kind of shook me up a little bit. I'm not gonna hold you. I remember telling Ethan that night too. I was like, "Yo, I'm a little scared." Like that kind of like shook me up a little bit.
And I was like, "Yo, relax,
Yeah.
Relax, bro."
But to our point today, we're gonna talk a little bit about traumas and growing up and how they have shaped us into the person we are today. Because till this day, a lot of us all deal with these issues and a lot of our issues from the past. It's not like they haunt us, but they always remind us of where we've come from. And I think it's important for us to grow on these. And like I said, just because, it's really cool because I had Ethan's reassurance to be like, hey, calm down, take it easy. I was with people that actually cared about me. So it's like, all right, now I can calm down and relax. But like in a real life like environment, if I was just maybe like in a party and like I would probably freak out a little bit because kind of gets my heart jumping a little bit. And, to the people to the left of me right now, we have Carmine and Ethan. And Ethan's always on social media all the time preaching about how he always got to release the demons when he goes to the gym. And we're going to get into today and some of those demons and how he lives with them and how he gets in them and how he gets in his head with them sometimes, but how he also pushes forward. And that's for everyone at this table. Carmine's also going to get a little into it. We're all going to get into a little bit of our stories today. So hopefully you guys could relate. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you guys could share some of your experiences with us. And, maybe we could touch some people today, touch some lives. And that's it. That's what we're here today for.
Facts, man. Facts. Traumas. I think you was dealing with anxiety at that point, right? And then paranoia, and then that kicks in. One trauma of mine that a lot of people know of or someone that's new, I feel like I lost my world, my best friend, someone that was like my therapist all in one. So when I lost that, I kind of didn't know really how to go about certain situations where like I come across a problem, but I would go to my dad and like ask him for that reassurance. Like Casey said, like that reassurance, I needed it. But then when you don't get it, you start going a little bit like crazy and cuckoo. And like my dad was that person to give me that reassurance and keep me stable. So when I lost my father, it was like, I feel like my whole life changed and I got impacted suddenly because, I think I didn't really have anxiety. I wasn't really nervous. I was usually a cool, calm, collected kid. But even, like before school, sometimes I'll get a little nervous and I'll talk to my dad and then he'll like calm me down ASAP and then I'll have a great, phenomenal day. Or it's like I could just go about my day, speak to my dad at the end of the day, regardless of what happened throughout my day, I will feel good because I spoke to my father. And like I said, when he passed away, it was just that void and like now deal with my own. Like I said, since 2015, I feel like I kind of diagnosed myself, right? You could say like PTSD, sort of like certain things just give me like whoa, and then like they sent me back to like kind of like how I was. Like I've been working on it, like a little bit paranoid, anxiety. Sometimes my hands get overly sweaty at sometimes, or just my heart beats crazy, or I just start to overthink about certain things. So yeah, man, and it's just I don't know, like dealing with that over time, like that's why I go on social media and vent, and that's what I said. That's what Casey said about the demons, right? That's why I kind of like do what I do with a passion, and that's why I work out because I need to release all that like all the shit I think about and like everything I've been through. Cause like ever since my dad passed, like mad stuff started happening. Like, my grandfather passed that year. Then this stuff that happened with me and my surgery and like me almost having cancer. And then like no one really being there for me besides me and my mom, my step pops, no one else there at all. And then just politics with football, the whole college experience, and just kind of just feeling alone despite who was around because of just everything that has happened and continues to happen. COVID even shook me up. I called COVID, and then like I was fucking going crazy in my room, and like I didn't know who to talk to. I felt like no one could relate with me, even with all the situations I've been through. I feel like no one could relate with me, but there is people that can relate, and when you reach out and you talk to people about those things, like it's really helpful.
So I was gonna actually add on to your point a little bit. So you spoke a little bit how like reassurance is like a really big thing. And I think with anyone who goes through any trauma, I think foundation and family and that reassurance is extremely important for the healing process. And I think if you don't have it, you can go one or two ways. You can honestly go
You go left or you go right.
Yep. You can either it can get really, really bad, or you can, face it your battle yourself and come out of it that much stronger. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny how you said you also self-diagnosed yourself. I was gonna say maybe this might be a personal question, but like what are some triggers for you that, bring up maybe like this paranoia, this anxiety sometimes, and like anything. It could be social media,
It's just,
society, like
I mean,
people, like
nah,
what are
it's
these
just
things that get
people.
you?
It's just like I'm very,
Is it like characteristics of
yeah,
people
maybe no,
or like
like
personalities?
I think it's just my personality. So my dad was really like put me on to a lot of game. Really a private person, secretive. Didn't give out his number like that. You'd
So
be
like no
lucky.
trust whatsoever.
Yeah. I think it was like no trust, and like he taught me some stuff about like you'd be lucky if you got one friend. So I stick by that, and it's very true. So I'm very like leery as to like who I trust, and like the stories he told me of like him and his so-called best friend, but he had a true best friend, like one of these so-called best friend, and how like someone snaked him, and then just tell me stories like be careful who you trust, and like you can't really trust everybody, and then like as you go about life, like you said, like
Yeah.
you'd be lucky if you got one. And when he was gone, it was just like, all right, who can I trust now? Yeah, I have my mom, of course, and my step pops, but I still have a hard time trusting people as much as I trusted my father to this day. It's just that's just how it is.
Is it
Like
because you're looking for somebody on that caliber, or it's
it
just a matter of like
it's
trust? Because that's your father was like, I mean, we would be in the gym late at night,
mhm.
and I know we would have like these stories, or not stories, but like just talks. And your dad he was a very influential figure in your life in a
Right.
very positive way. Like you could tell that he really, really, really influenced you and made you into the person you are, not just today, but even throughout life itself.
Mhm.
So are you trying to like find that level, or are you like, you know what I mean? Because he's
Yeah, I
not
think
here,
yeah,
but at the same
exactly.
time,
Exactly. Like it's been like that. Like, yeah, I was looking for people of that caliber, but like no one's ever gonna match that caliber,
oh,
right?
100%.
No one's ever. So realizing that, it's like, whoa. Like
Kind of shitty in a way.
yeah,
'Cause
it's
just
shitty
like,
because
fuck.
yeah, like Casey's my rock, my best friend. Like he kind of fills that void for me. And like one, like when I speak to you at times, like everyone plays a part in it. I'm just so thankful for that because God sends blessings to people. And I realized when I was going all through that, like I can't just push people aside and not really trust them. I gotta like go and seek help.
Kind of understand.
Yeah.
I noticed like it's really hard, right? So like people will go, myself too.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You'll go through something in life and you'll be like, man, like, I'm alone. No, I can't trust anybody. But then at the same time, if you keep shunning people or pushing people,
It gets
right?
worse.
You also
Not-
do it to yourself.
And on top of that, you'll never be able to open up or understand somebody. So how are you going to know that that person can't, let's not even say help, but like, let's just say like, I don't know, like a high can help.
Yeah, it's just
Like just trust overall. If you don't even try to trust, then you'll never be able to.
yeah, and
You know?
I've been trying, but my philosophy is like real is rare, as the quote is, right? And it's just like not many people are on my type of level or comprehension.
You
Like
know what
I
else is rare? Honestly, sympathy and empathy.
yeah,
You have a lot of that.
but then we're getting like a little debate here. It's cool, but then right, they take advantage if you let them, and like I can only give out so much, and it's like sometimes Meek Mill said it. Bosses got feelings too. I consider myself a boss, and it's like, damn, I got feelings too. When is someone gonna show me? Do it on the back end for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to realize that when I was reading, praying, it was like, all right, well, God could be the one for that. That I'm like, even though they're not gonna always show me that, like I could just look up to God to do that for me. But it's hard keeping that faith day to day. But you got to keep it. So yeah.
I mean, you said boss, right?
hmm
So there's me myself, right? I always looked at two different types of people when it comes to boss. There's
Yeah.
a leader, and then there's a boss. Now, a boss, they might take a loss and be like, man, all right, we got to on to the next one. A leader will literally, whatever happened, they'll figure out why, they'll figure out reasoning, they'll understand, and they'll come back better. So it's not just about pushing, it's about understanding, reasoning,
No pun
right?
intended, like his shirt.
I mean, no pun intended at all. But and for me, right, everybody is going to be different, right? And it's not necessarily like you're not a boss, you're not a leader, because like I met Ethan in the gym. Originally, we went to high school, but
Yeah, no,
I met him in the gym,
Yeah.
and we really connected through that. But we also connected in the fact that like we talk very in depth about things, right? So like coming back to that, being a boss isn't a bad thing. There's no right, there's no wrong,
hmm
but it could be a different point of view that if you were to look through those binoculars, you might see something that could be very positive. Or you might feel, all right, maybe this might not benefit me because of who I am as a person and where I want to go. So, it's worth a try. It's worth a look.
Yeah, definitely. What you guys
I was gonna say, you speaking like you got experience here. I'm ready for a story out of Carmine right now.
Oh, no. I don't have any experience at all. No, man, life is like, there's a lot of ups and downs, Like it's not necessarily, it's so like throughout life, there's always been a lot of doubt. Now, speaking on me personally, there's always been a lot of doubt. Like everywhere I went, there was always, oh, he can't do it. He can't do this. He can't do that. And to a certain age, I was very, not that I gave up, but almost like, yeah, it's not gonna happen.
I was gonna say, do you believe trauma, in a way, can be very beneficial to people to an extent?
So, I believe understanding why the trauma happened is beneficial. Now, trauma will always happen. There will
Yeah.
with good comes bad, with high come low.
Right.
But I like it's like a diamond, right? The more pressure, the more pure the
Prettier
diamond
it
is.
is.
Yeah, right? So like yes, but the person that goes through it has to capitalize. And that is so much easier said than done, man.
So do you think like adversity and like trauma like play hand in hand? So I'm a very big believer like adversity builds character.
Absolutely.
But that's because like that's just also like how I was raised. That's also how like I look at things because
Mhm.
if there's no like challenge in your life. Now I'm not saying trauma isn't a challenge because it definitely is, right? But like it's a different type of challenge, and I feel like in life it could also be an adversity. And I feel like if you also compare it to pretty much the same exact thing, like it's like everything else in life, you have to like learn from it, grow from it, and then keep pushing forward. So like I'll even get into a little bit about like my story, right? But like how my try push. There you go, baby. Sponsored by Push. Nah. So like, on a real note, like just to like a little bit about like my story, right? So Ethan was talking about like voids earlier. So obviously some of you guys know me. I took a little tour in Afghanistan, and obviously it's different because like for me, like PTSD is very real. And if we're talking about traumas here, PTSD is one of those main things that I feel like a lot of people hit on and ask about, especially when it comes to trauma, because that's post-traumatic stress disorder. Trauma is literally in the
It's
whole
real.
entire definition,
Yeah.
in the word. So the way I look at it is like I came home, right? I was a whole different person. Like before, like before Casey, was a lot different, really laxy daisy. They really didn't appreciate like life as much. I didn't really care for the small things, nothing like that, right? Like after like post deployment Casey, it was just like, okay, now I take things a lot more serious. I really have no time for bullshit. I value my life so much more. But also like with this growth also came like a lot of like adversity and challenge and trauma because, you know, I don't believe, you know, I should be seeing like my boys get caught in explosions overseas and, you know, and like seeing all that like in general to a point like can fuck you up mentally. Just the explosions that come with it, you know, everything like all the bangs, all the noises, all the trauma you seeing your friends all bloody, like it's literally like a movie, but like you don't understand like in the moment like how bad like it really affects you till like you're home after the fact. So like I'll even give you guys like a whole rundown. Like I never really like share this too often, but like I did have like a minor case of like PTSD like when I came home like to an extent. Like so like when I first came home, like I didn't really like, notice anything like was different until like in the middle of the night, right? I could just be hearing something. And then like I would just hear a big ass bang and I should just wake me up and I would just shoot out of bed. And it's not like my fault. Like I can't just be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I guarantee like a big bang will scare anyone at fucking night if they're knocked out, right?
I
But like,
want to let you know, I don't mean to cut you off. This is like something that personally I genuinely would not think of.
yeah.
Like when somebody comes back in my head, like from the army, any branch, in my head, it's like, oh, okay, civilization.
same.
Yeah. So like it's funny how you say this. So like we have like this term in the military. I hear it a lot. So like the war may be over, right?
Yeah.
But for that person, the war still goes on.
That's wild.
And I think that's a very beautiful quote because everyone who comes back from war, the war is always going on in their head. You know, rest in peace to actually someone I deployed with. He actually recently, you know, committed suicide. And it's very unfortunate because like I have a little memorial bracelet for him because it goes to show me that like, you know, if someone really needs that help, always look for the signs because we didn't look for the signs, bro. And I feel like we failed him. You know what I'm saying? And like that's very unfortunate because like that could have been avoided and like obviously like the war was still going on with him even though he's been through multiple.
Right.
So that was very touching and really opened my eyes a lot because like it showed me like how far I've also come from like where we were. So like not even to like cut you off again, but just to
No.
continue my story a
Keep
little
going,
bit, like
bro.
right, like the first night I came back home, I was with my parents and everything, my mom, family, and everyone, and like I'm laying down in bed, fucking like something drops upstairs, bro. I just shoot up out of bed. I can't help that. Like I can't help that because like we were just so used to being on edge all the time, explosions all the fucking time, hearing that shit, and then it's just like shit. And then like I just went back to bed, and like I didn't think nothing of it, right? Because like you don't really see the change in yourself, other people do, and
Yeah.
that's really interesting. But like to Ethan's point, at one point you do start seeing it. You start self-diagnosing. So as I got home, right, I did the whole like transition process. After it came back, you know, everyone's like, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you." But like in your head, you're like, "Bro, like I don't really need a thank you. Like this is like my job. I signed up for this. Like stop
Mhm.
thanking me. Like I don't want to. Like it's stupid." But like the way I look at it, so like I came home, did the whole transition, and like everything was fine, right? Everything was cool until like things like really started settling in. And like I know we spoke about this, me and Nita spoke about this in another episode about COVID. I actually came to home like the first day of the lockdown.
That's wild.
And my head, right? In my head, I
Yeah.
was like, I'm come home, I'm gonna get fucking turned, I'm gonna have a good time, hang out with all my friends.
Yeah.
This and
You were
that,
looking
right?
forward to that, just
Yeah.
letting loose.
And then the
doing your
fact that
thing.
I was just like cooped up in my house, like just made like so much, like it made everything like
Felt
so
like a
much
jail cell?
fucking worse, bro. Because like after being in a jail cell pretty much for 9 months,
Yeah.
like you think I wanna
Do that again.
do that again
your own
for
house.
another year. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So like I had very high expectations and the expectations were not met. But like just small things like right, like triggers. We were talking about triggers earlier, but like my mom would like slide open my door like really slowly. And my door's like kind of loud and I know like every noise in my house.
Yeah.
So like she just slides open the door and bro, I just shoot up again.
Instant.
And I just look at her and she's like, she looks at me and I'm just like, she's like, "You good?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I'm fine. Like just
Yeah.
don't open the door like that." And she's like, "Calm down." And I was like, "I'm sorry. Just like just don't
Yeah.
open. Like I can't help that."
But
It's,
you-
it's a reflex. at
Yeah,
that
your
point.
scars kind of built you like that, and
Yeah.
we said our scars make us, and I truly believe that. It's also about how you heal from the scars too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could just like the when you get a cut, right? You got to make sure that it heals properly, because if not, it could lead to like infection, what the case may be. So like when you're dealing with all this stuff, you got to make sure you heal properly, because if you heal the wrong way, hurt people.
Yep.
And it's if you
Well
do
said.
if you do need help, like sometimes people don't know. Sometimes people have a hard time of putting their pride and ego to the side to go get help.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we see a lot of cases like probably murder, robbery, what the case may be, because or they just don't have the strength or the guidance or the guidance in their family or their support system. They'll be like, hey, you need this help before shit really goes left.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, like with me, it was like, all right, yeah, I'm hurting right now, but I'm not afraid to go get help. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I could talk to a random stranger. I'm just telling them how I feel, or just go on social media and like tell my life story real quick, or say what I'm going through, because I have no shame as to what I'm going through. Like I'm only human. I have emotions. Yeah, I'm a man, but there's nothing wrong with me being a man and showing that, yeah, I might be emotional to certain things, or yeah, I'm sensitive, or yeah, I have this and that. And I know how to put, like, again, my pride and ego aside. And pride and ego kills us all. You know, I always tell people, oh, put that to the side. And like, nah. I'm like, yo, put that to the side, because that's not going to get you nowhere. There's no growth in that.
No, not at all. And I agree with you. So like, even like to your point of like pride, I came back home and I was very prideful, right? And like, I don't really share this too often, but like my mom even like asked me and she was like, I think you should go talk to someone.
And you're like, no, you know, and
No,
then
literally.
that was me with my mom, like maybe a year or two ago. She was like, maybe you should go see a therapist, because I was crying one time in my room, and then I was just like, oh, like I said, I just feel alone, and like regardless of who's there, like I just feel like I can't relate to nobody. And she was like, well, I'm here, and I was like, yeah, I know you're my mom, but it's just weird. I'm just in this weird space, so maybe go see a therapist. And then I was like, nah, fuck that, I'm not going.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? Now, if I don't want to do that, then I gotta do something else where it could kind of be therapy. All right, let me talk to my mom. Let me open up the Carmine.
Yeah.
And he was like my therapist per se, or social media was my therapist. I just released it on social media, had my whole rant,
Yo,
my rant.
honestly,
And in a way, you trusted him.
Yeah,
honestly though, no joke. And if you guys don't follow Ethan on social media, you should. Dude does some crazy workouts, but every time he does a crazy workout, my man is fighting demons.
yeah.
And that's no joke. That's like, I look at that and it inspires me to do better. Because what you're doing is, and this goes back to triggers and what you could have done to help. What were the signs? So like for you per se, you're fuming, right? For whatever reason, you're fuming. You're like, yo, I need to work out. I need to get it out of me. I need to, get nice and clear headed, and then just approach it in a much more calmer way, right? And when it comes to your friend who committed suicide, I'm sorry for that. What were the signs? Because everybody has signs. Everybody. And it's not always, suicide, but these things can really take a toll, a huge toll, and it could lead to suicide. And because of the whole, COVID lockdown, people felt more alone than ever. And it was very, very, very transparent.
Yeah.
So like, what were the signs?
So like, it's funny because like I didn't see any, because like I didn't speak to him in person because we were like separated, right? We're far different places. He's stationed somewhere else, or he got out, but he was living somewhere. And like I saw, like I hit him up, we spoke, nothing seemed off. Obviously, you can't really tell through social media, right? But like I'm not gonna like talk on like his behalf, right? Because this is like his story, and like I don't really know like 100%. But like apparently, like he did post something like the day before, and like someone asked, and he's like, no, like it was just a joke. But like those things,
He wanted to see like a reaction almost,
yeah.
in a sense.
But like those, like if you see something like that, regardless of it being a joke or not, it should not be taken lightly, because like, nah, bro, if I'm posting something that's really out of pocket for me, like I would hope someone would be like, yo, you good? Like,
or maybe not trying to speak on the dead or what the kid or what he did was wrong. Pride again, right? And ego. Maybe he said, "Now it's just joking." He didn't want to tell the truth about it because he's like, "Oh, it's gonna make me seem weak."
yeah.
Could be.
And like I said, like, and to your point, like going back to like my story again, is like when we talked about pride, like my mom asked me, and I was just like, nah, like I'll be all right. Like I'm not stressing. Like I don't really think I need to talk to someone. And it's really funny because my mom always says sometimes too, like sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger. And I think that's facts, because you have nothing.
That's how I met him.
You literally have nothing to lose, bro, when you talk to someone you don't know. And like it's crazy because like if you seek advice from people around you, you're gonna get the advice. You know the advice you're gonna get from these people because you know them so well. But like if you get advice from someone you don't know at all, they can give you a whole like different perspective.
And,
100%.
and it's unbiased too.
Yeah.
So
A lot of people, they walk around, right? And I actually have my own story. I was going to Brooklyn College. It was my freshman year of college, second semester in freshman year, right? And I was not a morning person. Still not, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
I'm not a fucking morning person regardless.
but
I'm not a morning person regardless.
I remember I had a class, I think it was 11 to 12:15, right? So those were my favorite. In and out, done. And I remember I went on the B6, right? And I would go in the back. Around like 10:30, nobody would be on the bus. Now this goes back to what I was going to originally say, right? And to you guys. And I remember there was somebody in the back of the bus and they were just sitting there. They weren't crying, they weren't sobbing. They didn't look sad, they looked defeated. And it's like a huge difference. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you see somebody and you're like, holy fuck, like, yo, are they okay? And this is where I had one of two choices. Leave it alone, right? Or good morning. That's it. Simple
Right.
good morning, right? And I ended up saying, good morning, man. And all of a sudden, his eyes widened. Kid you not, widen up. And he had a little smile on his face, almost like he got attention,
Mm-hmm.
And it was very, very obvious, like I could read it, but it was almost like something was off with him. So I engaged in conversation. I just wanted to know how his day was going. It was very,
Mm-hmm.
honest and pure.
Not to your point, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but like in
Tell
New
me.
York City, bro, you ask someone like how they doing, I'm never fucking asking that because everyone in New York City
Yeah,
move
but
crazy,
if
bro.
they tell you to go fuck yourself,
Nah,
that means they're
yeah.
doing good.
Yeah, no,
right?
1000%.
If they, if they're a little fucking off and
You'll know.
they don't reply, then it's like, oh, something's wrong. That's
Mhm.
the culture in fucking New York City.
Yeah, 1000%.
But whatever, we start talking and I ask him about his day, what are you up to? It turns out he was going to Brooklyn College. Okay. I'm thinking, this kid's going to class and stuff like that. We end the conversation. It was a good conversation. It was just about his day, what he's gonna do, blah blah blah. He dabs me, right? And I didn't realize it was a small piece of paper, but it was like folded up, like a bunch of times. I'm like, what? He's like, listen, I want you to have that. Thank you. You helped me. I'm not doing it.
Hey, yo.
Check this out, ready? I'm like, whatever, bro. Like, I didn't think anything of it, because at this time in life, I was a little too gullible. Just, it didn't hit me yet. It hit me the year after, when life was so real. So, whatever. Before I go to class, I'm like, you know what? Let me see this piece of paper. I wasn't going to throw it out. I was just going to wait to open it. And it was his suicide note.
That's crazy.
Damn, that's fucking insane, dog.
And to this day, I would love. He was probably a student there. Maybe he was gonna do something. I don't know. But to this day, I would love to
see where he is.
just say hi, bro. Like, just let's get a cup of coffee. How you doing?
Word, I think, right, Casey said being like that war quote, and it's gonna tie back to that. I feel like we always kind of in war with our mentality, because your mental and yourself is your biggest enemy. It's you really against you. You really could take yourself really down or take yourself up, but your mental is always gonna wire you because it knows you best, because it's you.
Mental
So
fortitude
it
is
yes,
everything.
so it knows the triggers like to take you off, and it's gonna be that beat in your head, like zzz, 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 and annoying. So I feel like I'm at war with myself, but then like I always regain peace. So I win the war, right? I just win, and I find that peace and solitude. I don't let my mental win. So it's like I won the battle, right? And that's every day though. That's 365. That's every minute. It could be a battle, because you could be up or you could be down. I always try to stay up, right? And in this case, he was probably losing against himself with people with suicide.
I don't know, but
Yeah,
I
who
looked at
knows?
it in the sense of like, you can either tell somebody go fuck themselves or how are you doing?
Yeah,
And I would much rather stay positive / optimistic, and maybe that'll ooze out to other people rather than, keep this negative, attitude, because negativity is toxic, right? Negativity leaks everywhere. So if I were to help others in any type of way, it'd be that. And coming to you guys, coming to those signs, the possibility of helping that one person could be way more possible, right? It could be more, the odds might be with you rather than against you. Like, if I ever see, and I do have friends, I'm not going to name them, but I do have friends on Instagram, and, everybody's going through stuff. And when I see that, I automatically, yo, how you doing? What's up? How was your day? I don't even get into that, but I do ask if they want to talk about it. Because I don't want anybody feeling like that.
Right. You don't
But it's hard.
Mhm.
It's hard.
Definitely. Life is hard, man. And I feel like the satisfaction is knowing that you're not alone and that like everyone struggles and it's okay to struggle. I feel like a lot of people saying that, like, oh, if you're struggling or if you're going through this, like,
Yeah.
again, you're a weak link. Or no.
No, you're strong.
Yeah.
You're strong.
It's about how you approach it though, because again, you gotta approach it wisely, man. You don't want to continue steering yourself left and then boom, you're all alone at the end of the day. And make sure you do. I feel like we kind of know what could kind of set us on the right track. Like for me, it's working out, prayers, reading, staying around good company, staying around good vibes. A lot of us, we know what the fuck we're doing is wrong. We continue doing it, and we just can't end that cycle or that loophole. You get into like this generational curse within yourself. And I feel like it's the lack of guidance and the lack of foundation in a person that leads them that way. Thankfully, I had a great foundation. I had my mother, I had my father, a great family, and a great great friends, what the case may be. And they are the reason why I'm who I am. And God, I found God through my dad. But if it wasn't for my dad and my mom, especially my father, I wouldn't be this person. I wouldn't know how to attack life in different areas. I wouldn't know how to like resolve issues within myself or go about certain things. So I wouldn't know what is right or what is wrong.
100%.
And then those that need the help, that are in that vulnerable position, when they go get the help, they get it from someone else that's broken and tells them to do what they're doing.
It's this domino effect, man.
And
It's just
again, you're repeating that generational, curse.
Yeah.
And not everyone has the strength to break that. It's very hard. If it wasn't for my mother and father, I'll say this, I would be a weakling. I wouldn't be Ethan. I would have folded a long time ago.
You really feel that way?
I really do. I
Why?
really do. Cause bro, like, I just do. Cause they made me, man.
I don't think so.
Man, you could say your philosophy. I just feel like that, and I feel like, and that's why I just feel like sometimes I don't blame people. I just blame who raised you.
I
Goes
think
both
core
ways.
foundation. I think to your point, like I believe in that. I think to like an extent, like I do believe like the people who raise you definitely make like a 90% of like who you are. But like you have to understand like there's so many like other external factors. That
Yeah,
also,
of
like,
course, who you're
make
around,
you-
your surroundings, but again, product of your environment, and it's so hard not to become a product of your environment.
Mhm.
Those are like the 0.001 percenters because, bro, that's a hard ass shit to do,
Yeah.
bro.
I think more people are able to not be a product of their environment if their environment is negative or if their environment is not like benefiting them more now than ever because of social media. But then there's hand in hand with that because social media takes a lot of people down.
I was
Okay,
gonna say that was literally just a recent study, bro, on how social
Hold up.
media is like super toxic for people.
hold up.
Depends on,
It
again, your environment, who you follow, this and that.
Yeah.
but-
It depends on perspective, but hold up. Some people getting raised on social media and they're doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's also your parents' fault though. Like your parents should be on top of that shit.
but that
Or
just
your co-foundation.
that just ties back to what I'm doing. Looking at
Yeah.
this,
Because like, if your kid is on social media and you know like what they're looking at is like depressing them and like getting them really upset, like bro, like
And those might
have
also
that
be
serious
triggers.
conversation. Yeah, and have
know?
that conversation with your kid and be like, yo, this is not okay. Like you gotta find out like the hard way. Like shit ain't really like this. Like I just feel like, well, this is because like we're not gonna get into this topic, but like we had an episode of this as well. How like social media sets like that expectation for people, and like when people
That
feel like they're
also-
not at that expectation or they're not at that point in life, they start trying to act a certain way to kind of fit in.
That could go back to like, everything kind of goes back to like could be or what has been a traumatic experience for them,
Mhm.
right? When they go out of not their comfort zone, but when they go out of that like moralistic knowing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like your morals, you know not to do, I don't know, not to carry around, a gun or something. And the next thing you know, you might have to use it. But you're not built like that. That you're not about it. So now you put yourself in this situation where it's not you at all, and now you might be facing time. You come out, that's a traumatic experience. It's like all these factors coming at you just because of one choice that you made in life that you were like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And it could be other things too that are minor, but they might be seen as minor, but then they might, just keep going on like a butterfly effect.
All the small things add up, bro. It's like the snowball effect.
100%.
It always starts off small and then ends up bigger. And like, I was talking a little bit earlier about this. Like, I'm just gonna continue on from where I originally left off. I know we got a little bit, whoop. But like, the whole entire thing is like, remember when I told you how like when I came home and like I was suffering, from PTSD for a little bit, and like I didn't notice it at first until like things started changing. And then like I started self-diagnosing, then people started noticing it, right? My mom always told me I was really hyper. And I was like, like you're right, like I need to fucking chill out a little bit. Like I would just freak out for no reason. And then I went away for college, right? And like that first semester I got back, like Ethan was talking about this earlier, but I felt extremely, extremely, extremely isolated. And like, I don't care who was there for me, bro. Like, regardless of who was there for me, like, I know people were there for me and I know people love me, but like, I was around people, like, this is like an external factor, right?
Yeah.
But like, I was around people who could not relate to me because, after seeing what I saw, seeing
they
my
weren't
boys,
there.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, but exactly my point, right? But like, I'm not saying that like when I'm home it's any different because at home I did feel isolated at times as well. But now
Yeah.
being away from home and then being alone and then being around people who all they want to do, at times just get turned, this and that. Oh my God, this dude hooked up with another girl. Shit like that. It's just I didn't care for that because for
Your
me,
mind was elsewhere.
my mind was just on the fucking run, bro. And like I can tell, and like to Ethan's point, I always bring this back with self-diagnosis, right? Like I was sleeping all the time, bro. I was sleeping all the time. I had nothing to do. I felt so alone. I was just in my room, bro, in the dark, isolated. I felt like
That was like your
I
happy
couldn't.
place. In a
Yeah, I
sense?
just felt like I couldn't like relate to anybody, bro. I just feel like I was all over the place. My time management was like horrible. Like I could tell I was like kind of like doing like bad a little bit, like in school starting off. And then like I opted in. I was talking to Ethan about this. I was like, no, I'm opting in for like fully online classes, bro. Like I really don't want to be here anymore. Like honestly,
It
like
got that serious
yeah.
where you just didn't want to be around
yeah,
people.
and like it was just
socialness.
because like home was everything for me. Like I had everything going on, bro. I had my music, I had the podcast, and like all these things kept me busy from feeling so isolated and alone because I was actually with people that I actually cared about.
Right.
And then like to this point, right? Like it took me a really long time to like get out of this funk because like I just felt like I was all over the place and my mind was all over the place because I still wasn't comprehending everything that originally happened, and I knew that, right? But like I just felt like not that it was a pride thing. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I just felt like it was something that I needed to like come to like a conclusion with myself. Like that's a part of my life that's always gonna be with me, and it made me who I am. And like I always recently, if you guys follow me on Instagram or my dog's Instagram, I recently did become like a little like fur dad. So I have a puppy, and like I never really realized it until like. It's funny how we all three of us had a conversation on the phone one day, like that one day.
Yeah.
And it didn't come to me, but like I always tell Ethan this, like, yo, like my dog's really not like a dog to me. Like he's my best friend. And like to a point, like there are times like now where I still feel lonely and very isolated, regardless of who's around me. But like my dog, like we were talking about filling in voids, like that my dog fills in like that void of like loneliness for me. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that. And people sometimes are like, oh my God, like you love your dog so much. And it's just like, bro, like the way I look at a dog is like he's another person.
Yeah.
Like, he literally is like he has feelings. He knows what's going on. He's not stupid.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just all about perspective. And you just gotta respect people's perspective.
Yeah.
But also, we have to embrace being alone at times. We have to embrace the solitude. A lot of times we don't want to embrace that. We feel scared, alone. Again, we look at it as like, oh, it's a bad thing. No, it's not a bad thing. I learned to embrace it. I love myself. I got life. And if you got life, you should just love yours by all means. Because it's so beautiful. People be like, oh, I don't celebrate my birthday. Da 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 da. It's just a regular day. I'm like,
I'm one of those people.
and look, I don't know why, because your life is very special. You was born on this earth on that day. It is your day. the greatest blessing of all, life. Like that
Yeah.
is no one's gonna cherish your
The
day.
chances
Like,
of you being
I'll
born
speak
to
on
is
me.
like almost impossible, bro. Like,
Yeah.
if you really think about it.
Oh,
scientifically.
100%.
so,
But
but like,
I take that day to reflect on life and I
Yeah.
enjoy it.
but exactly, we gotta like enjoy ourselves, even if it's
Be
just
happy.
us. Yes, and be happy.
100%.
But yeah, man, I feel like we pretty much touched on like everything.
Yeah.
And like
And,
it
I was
was
gonna say, like, I think to everyone who's like struggling, like, I really want you guys all to know, like, it's okay to talk to someone. It's okay to like
yeah,
get
like
the help.
this
Like-
session was like therapeutic for me. This is, I think we may call this therapy session 101
Facts.
with Carmine.
Like to everyone's point, everyone is very different and everyone's very subjective. Everyone has traumas and everyone has like their own issues. But I also believe like the way you get through your issues is extremely important. And the way you get through these issues is really going to determine whether you become a better person and grow from these experiences, or it takes you down the wrong path and you start falling apart. And just know, when you start falling apart, it's harder to get back on the right path because it's just that little snowball effect. And this is like what Ethan was talking about earlier in Carmine, but like that foundation is extremely, extremely important. And the people who are around you can really help you. Like, I always say this, but like, you can tell who a person is by just who they hang out with.
Oh,
And
100%.
I believe that 1,000%, because
Yeah.
if your friends are bums, you're a bum. Like, you obviously, like, you know, don't hold yourself to a different standard compared to your friends, because Ethan holds me to an expectation.
Mhm.
And like sometimes he gets tight at me, but I know it's because he like loves me.
It's out of
bro.
love. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I know it's
absolutely.
not because he's trying to be a dickhead.
He's trying to make sure you're doing the best that you can.
Yeah, I only hang
No
around.
matter what.
I only hang around apes, and when you start acting chimp, I gotta strain you up.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, I think everyone, since everyone's subjective, I think it's just very important how you deal with these issues. And it could be anything. Like for Ethan, working out. For Carmine, it could also be working out. For
Definitely
me,
working out
For
Carmine.
everyone, yeah. So like for everyone, it's very different. And whatever your therapy is what works best for you. And it's important to understand these things. Like, and Ethan said, sometimes it's okay to be alone, take a step back, reflect on where you are in life, and then just come back in and be like, all right, now I'm ready to do this, have goals, keep busy. Like for me, what works best for me is like I like to keep myself busy. Once I know I'm in that little small space like by myself, then I'm just like, okay. Like
Fear kind of takes over.
yeah. And it's just like, okay. So for me, it's just all about like how you handle the situation. Keep yourself busy, enjoy yourself, love the moment, man. Be grateful for the people around you and just like enjoy fucking life, bro. Like you never know. Like Ethan always says this like almost every podcast, but every day ain't guaranteed.
Nah,
True.
every day is a special day. You know, birthdays especially.
You right.
Mm-hmm.
Carmen, you want to say something before we close out?
I mean,
You're
the biggest thing.
Yeah, you said, hold up. You said some dope ass shit. This dude's about to start his podcast before he close. He's about to start. He could definitely gotta start his pod. We got another brother in the deep end, but Carmine came with the intellect. He impressed me for sure. He took over. He was on some I can't even say the word
Philosophical?
Galileo over here.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't even say the word.
Plato, bro.
Carmeleo, baby. You feel
Yes,
me?
Carmeleo. So yeah, any words of wisdom you want to say before we close out?
I think the biggest thing, honestly, because everybody deals with fear, right?
Mhm.
Everybody's gonna deal with fear, and fear will always lead to these negative thoughts, doubts. You know, if you have a traumatic experience, there might be a trigger. You're fearing everything.
Yes.
And one of the biggest things about fear is an acronym: false evidence appearing real.
Ah, wow, that's really cool.
Don't ever forget that. So when fear is looking you in the face, walk straight through it. It's not there.
And what the fuck you got to lose?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Go for it, head first.
Exactly. Like, and who cares if you fuck up, get back up. We got life. Next day, new dollar. That's it.
God bless, yeah.
That's it. And shout out on my guy Jorge CFL. You know I'm rocking the hat. This shit is fly as fuck. And appreciate every single one of y'all. This session definitely helped me. And closed out. We're recording this on a Sunday, so this was Sunday's blessings to me. I'm just so grateful for everyone here, and just grateful for everyone tuning in and listening and supporting me and Casey's journey, and people that are going to support Carmine's journey, and those that listen that support Carmine in general. Stay tuned for his podcast. It's probably going to be called Push, or
Push.
Carmelito, as I call him.
Carmeleo, baby.
But Carmeleo, but I call him Carmelito. Thank you again, everybody. Brothers in the deep end, we're just really trying to show you what it is to be in the deep end. You heard?
And one
Thank
more
you.
thing. If you guys want to feel comfortable with us, DM us at Brothers in the Deep End. Tell us your experiences that you want to share with us and tell us how you got to those, and we can post them on our story. Give some people advice, give some people some feedback,
Or be a guest like Carmine.
or be a guest like
Hey,
Carmine.
that'd be dope, man.
That's it.
Remember,
That's it.
check out all of our Instagram socials. Don't forget to subscribe. I just dropped a new song about that life. If
Go-
you're really about
how's
that
it-
life, go
how-
stream it.
Oh, okay, how's it go? How's it going?
Tell me how you feel about us.
Hey,
Tell me how
okay.
you feel about us right now.
Night.
Nah, but we love you guys. Thank you guys for everything.
Look, moving different, you know I'm already custom made. Said you wanna play with me, there's just a different game. Trying to make it to the end, it's just a crazy maze. Here for the long